Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining me today in this live webinar from the great state of Texas in my beautiful health ranch named Hill Country Health Ranch, which of course we accept guests and we hope someday you can come visit us. So today's subject, of course, is a very popular subject. It's on, natural treatments for weight loss. And we're going to talk in a few areas. We're going to talk about first, and maybe the most important, the causes of weight gain. Because until you know the cause of why you're gaining weight, you cannot begin a treatment. As a professional, when people come to me with weight issues, I'm thinking, what is the cause? What is causing this excess weight gain? And this takes a little bit of diagnosis and a little bit of understanding to come to this conclusion. So we're going to quickly go through the common causes of weight gain, and that's very important for you to identify. And then second, we're going to talk about foods that obviously contribute to excess weight. And then we're going to talk about different herbs and herbal formulas and herbal treatments that can, and even lifestyle habits and some home remedies. So first, I'd just like to say that you have to accept that there's no one approach to weight loss because there's many causes and people can have 2-3 causes of their weight gain. So this whole concept of just eating less and going to the gym, and it works for some people because that may be addressing their particular cause. Obviously, if you're eating poorly and you're eating junk food every day, moving from junk food over to home cooked meals is a step in the right direction, and that may be one of your causes, poor food choices. But it may not. You may change over to healthy food and still not lose weight. You may go to the gym and still not lose weight. You may be fasting and still not lose weight. In fact, most clients, they come to me at that stage, probably by cleaning up their diet and going to the gym. If that worked, they probably wouldn't do the appointment. So maybe I'm missing those people because this can work in some instances, but not all. Many people have a disposition, we in Ayurveda, the Kapha Vikriti, or a person with a Kapha Prakriti, a natural state of being heavy, dense, slow, and gaining weight easily. They can be struggling with weight their entire life. But so this type of person would really need to follow this diet. And I will say that this course is not for somebody who's a few pounds overweight or has little abdominal fat, because that could just be digestion or constipation. We're talking about people who are at least 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds overweight. And that's an important point to take. So if we know there's many causes to weight gain, then we can also conclude, and we're all very different, that all weight loss diets are basically fads. And there's many very dangerous diets out there that are very extreme. Some of them can be effective for some people. A vegan diet can be too extreme for some people, but it can be suitable for others. And there's other diets that are, I feel, even more unhealthy, that are based on a lot of animal protein and fat. So in Ayurveda, we identify your type, your Prakriti, your original body type, and your imbalances, your Vikriti, and then we provide the diet for your particular type. And in this case, we're going to be focusing on what's called Kapha Imbalance, Kapha Vudi. Kapha is for the person who's generally heavy, slow, cold, dense, and gains weight easy. Even when they're young, they tend to be full-figured and have wide shoulders and big, like a ball player. And they easily gain weight, generally from puberty on, and struggle with it their entire life. That's, of course, this type of body type or Prakriti is who this course is really for. But anybody can have this imbalance, this excess weight. You could have been thin your whole life, and then you just started eating bad and eating a lot of junk food, and then you put on 50 pounds. And this can still help you, this diet and this approach, but only for a certain period of time, because once you lose that weight, you shouldn't follow this diet indefinitely. So I'm not saying the diet I cover and the herbs that I'm covering here are suitable for everybody, but we're assuming the person here is a heavy person, cold, not too warm, not too hot, doesn't get acid reflux, because we're going to talk about using spices, and tends to be gain weight easily and is a good, easy 20 pounds, 30 pounds overweight. That's the type of person that this class is for. So let's get to these causes of weight gain. The first and number one cause of weight gain that I've seen in my experience and as per Ayurveda is poor digestion. Now, there's many ways to know if you have poor digestion. Indentations on the side of your tongue means you're not absorbing nutrients very well. But the most common one we call Manda Agni, or dull digestive fire, is when you're not hungry at all. You're just not even hungry for your own meals. And this type of person, we know about them because they tend to not be hungry until 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And then, of course, they tend to overeat in the afternoon and even in the evening, and can be eating up till late. But see, that is a sign of poor digestion. This is a very important point, because a lot of times overweight people think, well, I'm not even eating much. I'm not even hungry till 2. I can't figure out why I'm gaining weight. Well, that's why they're gaining weight, because the digestive fire, or Agni, in their own system is so low, so damp, that they have no digestive fire to make themselves hungry or in the earlier part of the day. And ultimately, even later, they're just overeating to compensate from not eating. And then that overeating in itself can be weight gaining. But even if they don't eat weight gaining foods and eat light, they still could gain weight because of their weak digestion. So since this is such an important point, let's talk about why we have weak digestion. One, snacking. Snacking throughout the day, grazing. This has been very bad advice that's been provided by other people about losing weight. Now, this is the worst way to lose weight, because you're ruining your digestion by snacking, and you're not putting gaps between your meal to allow your body to actually burn fat, as we could say, or metabolize the fat, or be required to use your stored fat on your body for energy. When you keep snacking, the body will use, we could say, these carbohydrates, and ultimately glucose from the food that you're eating. So it's not going to burn your fat. So snacking not only ruins your digestion, but it leads to weight gain. And in two ways. One, you're just not going to burn fat. Two, you're going to dampen your digestion. Another, by not allowing your digestion to ever get strong. It's like when you cook bread. When you cook bread, the oven has to be hot. If the oven's not hot, you're not going to cook the bread, and the bread's going to be all gooey and sticky, and it's not going to be digestible. And that's exactly what happens when you're snacking all day and then you're eating, and when you're really not that hungry. That's the second tip for improving your digestion. Never eat when you're not hungry, because that's like putting the bread in the oven before it's even hot. It's only 200 and you need 400 to cook this bread. So the bread doesn't become cooked, becomes undigestible, and makes you feel heavy, slow, sleepy, and tired after meals. Often people who are married to people who are very good cooks have this problem, because they want to be polite to their spouse or partner and eat the food that's being prepared for them, but they're not that hungry. Often family men, housewives who have children, they're cooking for their family, so they want to participate, but they're not hungry. Maybe because they were snacking all day, but in any case, they're not hungry, and then they eat anyway. Well, when you eat when you're not hungry, guaranteed weight gain. So 2 rules here. 1, don't snack all day, have gaps, wait until you're really hungry, and never eat when you're not hungry. You're trying to lose weight. If you're not hungry, why would you eat? Of course, emotional eating is another subject we can talk about. And that is another cause, just emotional eating when you're not hungry, eating just for the sake of eating. And of course, addictions to sugar, addiction to crackers, addiction to salt, there's so many addictions in life. Life is full of addictions. It's So what we say in Ayurveda, it's not even so much what you're eating, it's what you're able to digest. If you can't digest it, then eating it, even if it's the right food for you, is not the correct food. So that's another issue with weight gain, is this eating the wrong foods that you're incapable of digesting. Even this can be true for salads. People think, oh, salad, that's light. You should eat salad all day and you'll lose weight. Well, if you have a good, strong digestion, you can eat big salads. But if you're eating salads and you're getting a lot of gas and bloating, it means your system is not capable of digesting it. So sometimes I'm giving people who are overweight, particularly if they have more pitta in them, pitta prakriti, panchaka pitta, more fire, more acidity, more hunger, more irritability if they don't eat, but they still gained a lot of weight. So they've got a high pitta, fire, and they've got weight, high kapha simultaneously. They do very well with big salads, leafy greens, because they have a strong digestive fire. They're hungry. They're not waiting until 3 o'clock. They're hungry at 8, 9 in the morning. So to satiate this desire and need to eat for this type of person, or more like a kapha pitta or pitta kapha type prakriti body type, we would encourage salads, so that salads are cooling and they allow and harder to digest. Raw vegetables as a whole are harder to digest. So and what we're talking about here is eating the right foods to match your digestion. So if you're eating salads and you can't digest them, you still will not lose weight. And if you're eating heavy foods that you're incapable of digesting, then this is going to be weight gaining. So eating habits, we talked about, not snacking, not eating late at night. And most people, if you have who are overweight and they don't have a strong appetite, 2 meals a day is plenty, and waiting until they're hungry, like brunch, a late breakfast when they start to get hungry, maybe 10, 11, and then an early dinner, maybe 5 or 6, and that's it. No cookies, crackers, nuts. This is one of the worst habits I've ever seen, is snacking on nuts. It ruins your digestion no matter who you are. But if you're overweight, plus you're snacking on nuts, you're ruining your digestion and putting on weight by eating these nuts. In fact, the only time we give people nuts is very thin, depleted people who are actually underweight. And sometimes when I'm doing appointments for people, I talk before the appointment. And I said, well, since we're talking, you're about your weight, and I see from your form that you filled out that you are snacking on nuts during the day. Stop snacking on nuts. Don't have any snacks except maybe some not sweet fruits like apples or pears, apricots, something not too sweet. I go, okay, fine. And then a week later, we have the appointment. And I said, how you doing? They go, I already lost like 3 or 4 pounds just in the week by stopping to snack. I hear it all the time. I didn't change their diet, didn't give them any herbs, didn't treat anything, just told them to stop the snacking and wait until they're hungry, and people are already losing weight. So this is very important. And emotional eating is another issue, and we do have some herbal teas that can help with that. Another cause of weight gain, one of the reasons for really stubborn weight gain, is liver problems. Now, when you have high lipids or high LDL, high cholesterol, your total cholesterol is high, excess fat in the liver or fatty liver, even worse, then what this really means when you have this cholesterol issue is particularly high fat like LDL, the low density lipoproteins. This means your body is not able to digest the fat. It's not breaking it down into fatty acids, absorbing into the bloodstream properly, and then you got this extra fat going through the body. Or it just means you're having excess fat, like you're having fried catfish and T-bone steaks, for breakfast and lunch, and eating hamburgers. I mean, you could be excess fat. But even if you're not having excess fatty foods like this, and you still have high cholesterol and you're probably past 50, then you could just have poor liver function. And I know that doctors are looking at certain enzymes, and they may think, hey, liver looks fine looking at these enzymes, but that doesn't mean your liver's really working that well. They're looking for more serious conditions. And basically, if you have high cholesterol and you're not eating junk food, then we know this is a liver issue, just like diabetes is a pancreas issue. And, most cholesterol and blood fat, lipid problems are related to the liver, because it's the liver's job to produce the bile, and the bile emulsifies the fat, and then that helps you digest it. So if you have a clogged gallbladder, another cause, we're on to like 5 or 6 causes here, by the way. So we're up to like 6. And gallbladder congestion, another reason for weight gain. And of course, when the gallbladder's clogged, the bile doesn't come out. The bile doesn't come out, you can't break down fat, cholesterol goes up, liver gets more fatty, and weight starts increasing as well. And of just poor liver function, maybe alcoholic liver, history of hepatitis, any type of damage to the liver will affect overall metabolism of the body, hormone production, and bile production, and ultimately can result in weight gain, particularly this stubborn weight gain. When a person's changed the diet, taking my herbs, not snacking, and they're still losing, but not much. Or sometimes people will lose weight like 10 pounds, 20 pounds, 30 pounds. Everything is going great. And then it just plateaus, but they got another 30 pounds to go and they're not losing it anymore. Generally, I'll just start treating the liver at that point. Of course, we're going to get to talking about herbs. So liver function is one issue. And even another issue, or cause, we should say, of weight gain is internal congestion, blockage. The lymphatic system is blocked, the colon's blocked, circulation is blocked, and there's like congestion in the system. Often these people don't have much appetite either because the digestive system is clogged. You can see respiratory problems with mucus and congestion, constipation, only going 1 time a day or skipping a day. This is still insufficient. And a lot of times people have little bellies or pouches in front of their abdominal area, lower abdominal area, and they think it's fat, and this is just constipation. You give them a good strong herb and get those bowels moving 2-3 times a day, and belly drops right down. They didn't really need to lose weight. They just had to unclog their system. If you have a lot really cold feet, varicose veins, cellulite, these are all signs of poor circulation. And poor circulation is a congestive issue in the body. The blood needs to be thinner. The lymphatic system needs to be going. And this can also result in weight gain and other symptoms, like I said, cellulite and varicose veins, cold feet, and even lightheaded and dizzy with the blood not getting up to the forehead. So, and then nutritional deficiencies. If you're just eating too restrictive of a diet because you're following some crazy, celery juice fast, some person that has no training and just, tells everybody to eat celery juice, and you've been doing this for a while, then, you can end up with nutritional deficiencies. And nutritional deficiencies, will create more cravings because the body's trying to crave. I've seen people do low-fat diets for even 6 months, and the next thing you know, they're just craving fatty foods. Their mind has become unstable. I've seen people eliminate all grains before. I don't touch any grain. No carb diet. What happens? They start to have the cravings for the actual grain. And, because grains do have certain B vitamins and they help us stay calm, and we need these B vitamins. These people often have anxiety, don't sleep at night, and that can be a nutritional deficiency that ultimately creates cravings. So it's very important not to starve yourself, but to eat sufficient foods that are not gaining and helping you gain weight, not making you gain weight, but at the same time, not depleting you too much. I mean, fasting is a good technique if you have the excess weight, but extreme diets for too long can create these type of deficiencies, nutritional, and ultimately create more cravings and then lead to more weight gain. We've seen this many times where people do extreme diets and they lose 10, 15 pounds and then they gain it all back because their body just was so depleted after their extreme diet that they had to overeat to compensate for it. And of course, if you have poor digestion because you've been snacking, eating late, or eating the wrong foods, as we mentioned in the beginning, then you're not absorbing the nutrients, and then you don't have good nutrition from it, and then you just keep craving. And even though you're eating good food, you're still gaining weight because you're not absorbing your food. So nutritional problems, nutritional deficiencies, going back to inability to digest the food, going back to bad eating habits or going back to eating the wrong foods that you're not capable of even digesting because you think that it's good for you, all can lead to these cravings. So that's why you have to have a delicate balance between giving a person who's overweight enough food to kind of keep them going, keep them happy, without depriving them and creating a lot of cravings by being too extreme. One or two more simple causes of weight gain can be just stress. When people are stressed or traumatized in life, they'll tend to overeat to compensate. When their life is just very stressful, they can't think of anything else. And, they're just eating just to get by in the day because they're stressed by certain aspects of their life. This can lead to weight gain. And also poor sleep. People who are not sleeping through the night, this is making them depleted in the day. And then they tend to just resort to things like coffee to kind of keep going. Then they have this poor sleep at night. And of course, there's many causes of poor sleep, including, nighttime urination and other issues. So, often it becomes a rabbit hole of identifying these causes and working on them all, improving the digestion, improving the sleep, improving the metabolism, improving the liver function, improving the eating habits, and making sure and improving the elimination and the circulation of the body. I mean, this is the holistic approach. Everybody talks about being holistic, but in fact, most people are just looking for a pill or a cup of tea, to solve their problems, when their problems are really multifaceted by having multiple causes involved. So you need to treat all these causes. So next, let's talk about the diet. In this case, it would be called the Kapha diet. And I'll give you a few guidelines to this diet. And this, of course, is not for people who are thin, who just want to lose a couple of pounds. And this is not for people who are really hot and have acidity. So first few rules of this diet would be no cold food, no cold drinks, no cold water, no ice cream, of course, like this. But even just ice water, you drink that ice water every day, cold water, it can lead to hypothyroid issues, which another cause of weight gain is poor thyroid function. And that often can come from cold foods. So, you drink cold foods and the thyroid gland doesn't put out the hormones. And if it doesn't put out these T3, T4 hormones, then you can have a lower metabolism, feel colder, and gain more weight. So cold and also cold water, cold drinks, particularly with the food, weaken your digestion and make you unable to digest the food. It's like having an oven nice and hot, and then right before you put in the bread, you throw in a bunch of water and cool the whole thing down and then throw in the bread. That's like, what you would be doing if you had ice water right before you ate. You're actually lowering your ability to digest the food by drinking this cold water. So no cold water at all. And if you have dry stools, dry skin, and dry constipation, then you want to avoid dry foods too. But the next and most important category you want to avoid is heavy foods. Heavy foods. See, Ayurveda was invented, over thousands of years, way before nutrition. So we often get confused with nutrition. We think, we need potassium, and then we're eating bananas all day. Well, bananas is probably the most fattening of all fruits, despite their fame for potassium. People make the same mistake with nuts. Oh, nuts have magnesium. Let's eat nuts all day. I got a lot of magnesium. And then, they gain weight and ruin their digestion. So it's not that nuts are bad. If you're thin, underweight, you have them with your oatmeal, fine. But they're not a weight loss food because they are heavy. Think of it that way, heavy. So what else is heavy? Well, meat is heavy. All red meat is heavy. Even chicken is considered heavy. I mean, some fish, like tilapia, trout, and some seafood like lobster and shrimp are lighter. I mean, you can eat a lot of lobster and shrimp and you don't feel full. So it's actually okay for weight loss. But overall, you want to move away from these heavy proteins, we could say, of meat or animal products and go over to legumes and beans. This is really the best way to lose weight for the Kapha Prakriti or a big Kapha imbalance where there's excess weight. Is your source of protein will be beans. Because once you are overweight, you have excess fat, you have excess muscle to carry around all this fat, and you probably have a lot of excess water in there. So even drinking too much water and foods that retain water, even salty foods like pickles and things like this will help you will make you retain more water and become more swollen and swelled. Not every person who's overweight has swelling and excess water, but it's quite common. So watery foods we also want to avoid. But let's go back to heavy foods. No meat, and then clogging foods, no cheese. The worst food is yogurt, and the worst time to have yogurt is at night. And that's per Ayurveda. They say never have yogurt at night, even if you're a thin person. And on our society, often we overeat yogurt and we mix it with fruit, which is a really terrible food combining. And these poor food combining, another cause of weight gain, poor food combining. We can see smoothies are often the cause of weight gain. People put all these different things in their smoothie. They put in bananas, strawberries, frozen strawberries, some coconut oil, some goji berries, some raw kale, blend it all up, throw in some ice cubes and drink it down, and they're not hungry all day because it just clogged their entire system. The body just basically isn't capable of, digesting fats, protein, and cold in a cold state, in this manner. I mean, the body just can't digest it. It can't sort it out. And so you just don't feel hungry, but it's actually people who are doing smoothies that come to me all the time. I don't know why I'm gaining weight. I mean, all I have is like a smoothie in the morning and salad at night. I'm still gaining weight. Well, that's a clear sign of poor digestion. In fact, a lot of my patients, when they come back for a second or third appointment, they say, no, I'm eating more than I was before. I'm eating the beans. I'm eating the millet. I'm eating these big salads or big vegetable soups. Physically, I'm eating more food than I was before, but I'm losing weight. That's a sign digestion's working. And you're eating the right foods. You're not eating these heavy weight gaining foods like pasta, pizza, cold pizza at night, off. even if it's, made from rice grain or something like that, or quinoa grain, it's still heavy. You have to think heavy. If you're heavy, don't eat heavy foods. No heavy, no cold, no dense, no clogging, no sticky foods. This is Ayurveda. It's very simple, very pragmatic, very effective. So light foods. Let's go over the light foods real quick. That's all your leafy greens, arugula, bitter. You want the bitter taste. You can't be eating a lot of sweet taste. You can't be eating bananas and dates and lose weight. You can't be eating sweet potatoes and lose weight. You have to eat bitter, light vegetables like arugula and even cabbage, cauliflower, kale, all suitable for weight loss. Parsley and hot things, onions, garlic, all good. Chili pepper. All good for you, even fresh organic corn. The main ones you want to avoid is a lot of watery vegetables like cucumber is watery and cold, sweet potatoes heavy and dense, and the squash is kind of in the middle. Depends, but for real weight loss, we don't even do much squash. When it comes to fruit, you want to not do the sweet ones. Like you just do green apples, apricots, sour berries, sour cherries, maybe some dried fruit. And light ones like raisins. The ones you want to avoid the most are the heavy ones. Avocado. I know avocado's got some great oil. I admit it's a nice avocado oil, but look at it. It's heavy and dense. A little bit of avocado on your salad is not going to hurt you, but unless you're a thin person with dry skin, low in fat, you don't need to be eating a whole avocado every day. And bananas, dates, coconut, these fresh figs, these are all heavy, dense fruits that you don't need. And never mix fruit, of course, with your meal or it ferments. Bad food combining also affects your digestion. Now, when it comes to grains is where you really have to pay attention here because, the common grains we have in our Western society, rice, wheat, and flour, we'll just say oats and wheat are the main ones in our society, but we have a lot of cultures, Asian and Hispanic, doing a lot of rice. So these are the common ones, and these are the weight gainers. Well, first you can eliminate white rice and white bread, weight gainer. I hope you knew that already. But even whole wheat bread, even Ezekiel bread, this is still a building bread. It's not for weight loss. It's for a thin person, a growing child, fantastic. Nervous, anxious person, oats is calming and heavy. That's how they make pigs a little fatter in Texas, I learned, is by giving them oats. Oats is out. And rice, we know, once you're pre-diabetic, you can't even eat brown rice. So what's left? Well, fortunately, we do have a gluten-free section in the health food store. So we have other grains like buckwheat, millet, and even barley, and of course, quinoa. So you have to choose another grain if you want to lose weight. You don't need to go crazy and no grains, no carbs. Well, people forget that fruit and vegetables also have carbohydrates. So let's just forget this no carb concept. And just forget throwing out the whole food group, by the way, of grains. Let's just eat the right grains. And that would be millet is the best for swelling and water retention. Buckwheat it's used in Eastern European countries, Russians. They all know about buckwheat for weight loss. And use maybe brown rice just as an emergency backup. But we all know now in Western society that wheat is a weight gainer. No, it's not bad. If you get organic wheat, it can be very healthy. I encourage it for children. I encourage it for depleted people. Like the Romans said, rice is for merchants, wheat is for soldiers. So wheat is a building type of grain. If you're an athlete or a soldier and you're really working out hard and you're not putting on weight, you're probably going to prefer eating wheat and whole wheat bread than, just having a little bowl of rice. So right grain is very important. And almost all beans are good for weight loss, except for tofu. No tofu, no tempeh. These you want to leave out. And, and nuts, as we mentioned, there's no nut that's good for weight loss. Maybe a little seeds. Sunflower seeds are okay. You can put them on top of your salad. Almost no dairy. I mean, if you're not really overweight, okay, little bit of dairy here, like a little ghee. But if you have fatty liver, high cholesterol, then you should just skip even the ghee and do sunflower oil. That's probably the best oil for weight loss. The worst oil for weight loss is coconut oil. It's a heavy, dense, congestive oil, and it can clog your gallbladder. Ask anybody who's had gallbladder attacks. 1 spoon of coconut oil, bam, they have a gallbladder attack. So if you've already had history of gallbladder problems, fatty liver problems, high cholesterol, you want weight gain, you want to stay away from coconut oil. But of course, it's suitable for many people. But we're not saying any of these things are bad. We're saying that they're not suitable for weight loss. Let's be clear here. Sweeteners, honey water is actually good for weight loss. In fact, I tell a lot of patients have some lemon with a little honey in the morning, and they go, oh, good, I like that. Honey and lemon, the lemon kind of clears the palate. It's got a kind of cleansing effect. It helps stimulate the liver, cleanse the liver in a mild sense. And the honey gives you some natural energy. And then people say, well, what else should I have with my honey and water? And I usually say, that's it. I mean, you're overweight. Just have the honey and water and keep going until you get hungry. Maybe 11 or 12. And even coffee can be a great breakfast for a very overweight person who's lethargic and tired. Now, if they have anxiety, can't sleep, having panic attacks, or the heart's racing, no coffee. But if you're sleeping great, feeling solid, no racing hearts, having trouble getting up in the morning, have your black coffee with some honey. And that's it. Maybe an apple. So I often give this out. Many overweight people are very happy with this breakfast, a cup of black coffee with honey and an apple. They're fine. Fantastic. And also, if you're overweight, and particularly if you don't have much appetite anyway, 2 meals is all you need with like big gaps in between. Sometimes if people have a strong appetite, acid reflux, we go for the 3 meals. It depends on the individual. And spices, all the food should be a little spicy. Ginger, pepper, black pepper, chili pepper, curry pepper, cumin. All of these are good for improving your digestion and helping you to lose weight, because these hot spices are helping you to digest the food. And chili pepper and hot spices help break up fat in your body, improve circulation, and unblock the system. So now I really plowed through that pretty fast. I hope that helped you, give you an idea of, the main foods that you should be having to lose weight. So let's cover a few other herbs that can help you out. Here's some spices that we have here. We have different spices. This one's called Kapha Seasoning. And Kapha Seasoning basically is hot spicy. It's called hot Kapha Seasoning. So we encourage people to cook with this. This helps their digestion. And ultimately, by having good digestion, then they, will help them to lose weight. Yeah, I know sunflower oil isn't the most popular oil because everybody's obsessed with omega-3s, and sunflower oil doesn't have omega-3s. But we're not talking about nutrition here. We're talking about weight loss. And people when they have fatty liver we put them all on sunflower oil. And this is a very light oil. If you get it, it just looks like water. And so that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about omega-3s and omega-4s. Now, here's a great tea here that we have many digestive teas, one just called Digestion tea. You can sip with the meal. But home remedy is you could just take ginger tea and sip it with your meal, ginger cumin tea. And this will really help you. Now, I know some people are thinking about portion sizes. Well, when you eat the right foods, broccoli, cabbage, quinoa, and beans, that's it. You don't have to worry too much about portions. You can eat as much beans as you want. You can have as much broccoli as you want. But you can't snack in between. And you can't eat at night. You have to follow the rules. And when you start to feel full, you can stop. So there's no measuring foods. This whole counting calories, this is left over from the 50s. Even the Weight Watchers organization themselves dropped it for some other system because it just doesn't make sense. People were eating all kinds of weird food that had 0 calories in it. And still, it's just old school, and even measuring your foods out. I never have my clients do it. I said, just enjoy your beans, enjoy your salad, have your bean burrito and a salad for lunch, have a big pot of vegetable stew and some beans for dinner and a little quinoa, eat till you feel content and stop. Don't stress yourself out. Don't starve yourself. But once you've eaten, that's it. You're not going to eat anymore until the next meal or the next day, because that's the time you need to lose the weight. That's why a lot of clients, they tell me they're eating physically more than they were before and losing weight. So it's more to do with eating the right foods and having the digestion to do it. Salads are not necessarily a cure-all. If you don't have the digestion to eat salads, you can't. If you get in gas and bloating from the salad, that doesn't mean that that's going to be your only cure-all. We see a lot of people try that, just living off of salads. You can get nutritional deficiencies from it. You're not digesting it in the first place. But if you have a really strong digestion, then that's fine. Otherwise, cook your vegetables and put them in a stew, a hot stew, and cook them down. So here's another really great product that's very popular. It's called weight control tea. Helps with cravings and emotional eating. And, it's got different herbs in here to kind of calm your mind down. Many of these herbs I brought right here today. We've got our little box of herbs here for weight loss. And, it's got this Garcinia fruit in here. Oh, I'm so glad we got it. We got this from a supplier. We used to get this Garcinia fruit from India, dried. And then we found somebody growing it. And on eBay, and we bought it. And he's growing it fresh. At first, we didn't even believe he really had the right thing. We said, okay, we'll buy a pound and we'll see. And I know how it tastes. It's very sour. And I tasted it and I go, oh my God, this guy's really got real Garcinia fruit. This is really growing it up there. It's not cheap, but we don't care about price. We're concerned about quality. So we do buy this from this guy, and Garcinia fruit is in both our weight loss tea and our weight control tea. And Dr. Oz himself said it's the best food for weight loss. Of course, they dragged him in front of Congress and told him he can't make false claims. And he promised he'd never do it again. But he was correct. Another good herb, which is in both my weight loss tea and weight control. Weight control is for cravings, remember. That's usually eaten in the evening. And weight loss tea is more stimulating. You can have it in the morning. It has green tea in it. So it kind of pick me up. So a lot of times we give the weight loss tea in the morning, get them going. Just a cup of weight loss tea and an apple, they're out the door. And that's breakfast. Weight loss tea for breakfast. It just snuffs out your appetite, gives you your energy, you're good to go. We don't need to eat. We're trying to burn off fat, not eat. Weight control tea is more for just calming the mind down and avoiding eating. But both of them have some of these ingredients. Germinia, we also use in our blood sugar formula. It stabilizes the blood sugar and helps a lot with cravings. In India, we call it gumar, which means the sweet killer. So it not only lowers your blood sugar, or in this case, it just probably helps stabilize it because it's not in big amounts. It actually takes away your desire to eat sweets. We got a few more herbs here. Chickweed. Chickweed is one of the old herbs known in Western herbalism for weight loss. And it's a diuretic, takes a lot of water out of your body. And then usually we put a little stevia in there to make it sweet, because stevia is also a like natural sweetener, and it can actually help with blood sugar, believe it or not, even though it's so sweet. So we got these two teas, weight control and weight loss, and we can see all of them have the Gymnenia, the Garcinia. The difference is the weight control has some calming herbs like Brahmi and lemon balm, so you're kind of calm down and you have no appetite. Weight loss tea, on the other hand, you're stimulated with no appetite. And of course in Ayurveda we have different weight loss formulas. We have a couple here, which are Indian herbs. Here's our main one, probably our most famous weight loss formula. So you would take this after meals, and you can see there, it says cleans the system, improves absorption, stabilizes blood sugar, and supports the liver. So it's doing all these jobs together. It's helping with the liver, helping with digestion, stimulating the metabolism. So this is a real champ. I mean, we just can't hardly keep it on the shelf. We do have two versions of it. If you get acid reflux, easy, because this is quite a little bit hot, spicy. It's got some also ginger and fenugreek in it. We have a mild one called weight loss formula for pitta, and it just doesn't have the hot spices in it, and it's not as hot, so it doesn't give them acid reflux and a heartburn. So it's like an alternative to it. And of course, we have many digestive products as well, which we use to keep the digestion strong. And then we often give herbs at night for elimination. If you're having anything less than 2 or 3 bowel movements a day, even just one a day, we're going to give you some herbs at night to just really get the whole system going, get those bowels moving, which will make you more hungry in the morning, which will move your appetite more to the morning, which is where you want it, and clean out the whole system every night. And one major cause of weight gain, well, I conclude here, is not doing regular spring cleanses. Because in the wintertime, we all gain weight. Chipmunks get a little bigger, bears put on weight. Everybody puts on a little weight naturally in the winter. It's a hard time to lose weight when it's getting cold outside, particularly if you're going out there. But in the springtime, that's the time to shed the weight. That's the time to do your spring detox. And, it's kind of late spring. So still a lot of clients, I'm still cleansing them out. And if every year you do the spring detox, you won't accumulate the weight. And many people say, hey, I was doing fine. And then, each year it just started accumulating after the winter time, and they just never got it off. I mean, they ate too much cheesecake, were less active outside, ate more heavy foods, and the body wants to put on a little more fat to protect it from the cold weather. And then you just didn't shed it like the animals do in the spring. The animals shed it. They let it go. They can't find enough food in the spring. They're just eating the little leafy greens, the dandelion roots, and they kind of do their own natural detox by eating all the new sprouts and new veggies and roots. And so they clean out every year after the winter time, and after like the squirrel, he collects all the nuts up and he pigs out on them and doesn't move much in the winter and puts on weight, just stays warm and survives. But then he runs out of nuts and he has to go out in the spring and eat little leaves and little sprouts, and that cleanses them out, and then he loses weight again. And then the whole cycle starts over. So humans, we just keep on eating all year round, never cleanse, never get the bowels moving good, never get the system going good, and we just keep accumulating every year. So I hope that gave you a good idea. That's so important to identify the probably multiple causes that you have for weight gain. Identify these causes, which is what I do in the very beginning of every appointment with a client who's focused on weight loss. And we write out those 5 or 6 causes. Usually it's like 3 to 5. And then we address each one of them, sometimes with lifestyle changes, sometimes with herbs, sometimes with changes of food. But we address these 5 causes. Then we give them the herbs that they need to expedite the process. Many people lose weight on the diet, and then when the herbs run out, they notice they stop losing weight. So when they put the herbs back in, then they start going again. Or they're losing slowly, but when they take the herbs, they start losing 10, 15 pounds a month, and it just keeps going. So many people have to do 4 or 5 jars of some of those weight loss herbs to actually complete the weight loss process. Feel free to give me a call. Contact me if you'd like me to identify your causes and prescribe the exact right diet for you, and provide you with the herbal products that will help you to achieve your weight loss goals and improve your overall health. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.